Wow, it's a great effort by by the football team, and they're very proud of those guys. Showed some fight, resiliency, some grit. You can find all those type of words. Found a way to win a football game in the end and close. In the end, players made plays. It was just good to see that a positive thing happened for these guys, and still things to correct, but at the same time, this is something we haven't done in a long while. And to see that type of effort, culminate into a win like this is something good for the kids, for the program. But we got to get better and to continue to improve and move on and get ready for the next opponent. Any questions?
Mike, over the years, so many things have gone against you. Were the odds in your favor that things are going to work out this time?
Paul, all you can do is just keep coaching and keep teaching and keep trying to keep the mindset of, being very positive about what we do. And again, the issue before was that no turnovers, and then I believe we scored again on defense, for the second game in a row, and had a big fourth down stop and things like that. So just keep being positive with the guys, keep emphasizing the things that can allow you to win, and also the things that can cause you to lose. And we had some of that too today. But as I said, a total effort from everyone on this team led to a victory in the end. That I don't think I've ever been involved with a triple overtime process like this. But as I said, very proud of the effort of the guys.
Mike, on the last drive in regulation, they had you stopped on third down and got a face mask penalty. What went through your mind at that point? Was it kind of like, okay, this is what we need to keep this going here? And two, how big was that play for your kids?
No, I remember looking up and said, "Thank you, big guy. I appreciate that." Sometimes things like that happens, and things that sustain drives and keeps them going, and sometimes you're on the other end of that, and it was just one of those plays that kind of provided kind of an impetus for the guys to say, "Let's go." We have opportunities here, and as I said, the last three possessions was fun to watch. But at the same time, you want to take care of things that will allow you to end the game in regulation. But again, I'm not going to take away from the effort of the fellas in there. They did a great job.
Mike, there were a lot of ups and downs for the running game in the first 5 games. What about the performance of the offensive line in overtime? It looked like they really took control of the line of scrimmage, and your guys were getting positive gains every time they ran it.
Jeff, I wouldn't say that early on, first quarter, but as the game went on, we're kind of almost running back by committee a little bit. There's so many guys that do different things for us. My hat goes off to Jack English, whose first college start, and we'll grade the film and grade the players tomorrow, but I know he probably played every snap that was out there. But we did some things to try to open up the defense with the jet sweep and then running the ball inside, and it seemed to cause some issues there and allow some gainers, whether it was Daniel Ham or Albert Reed or whether it was Smoke. But we did a good job later on, kind of establishing a run. And as I said, in the first quarter, I didn't think we had very many yards rushing, and I just glanced at it. I think we did representative well, but we need to keep doing better.
Mike, you said you're thrilled to see something positive happen for those guys. How much did you kind of sense that they kind of desperately needed that? You've had close calls and things that have, caused you to lose, as you like to say, but how much did they just really need for something to end on a positive like this?
Well, I mean, you guys we always talk about you're ruled by the psychology of results and things like that, and having a chance to win a game like that is something that you can kind of catapult yourself onto the next level of believing, of doing, of achieving, of expecting. And I've always said, Hank, that the mindset has been good. Now it's the opportunity to win a game on the football field, and Syracuse is a good football team. The quarterback, as I said, is a very talented young man, but we found a way to win, and that's the biggest thing, and that's what we take from this.
I'm sure you were well educated on the rules of overtimes, but you haven't played many overtime games recently here. Were you really up? Is that something you guys discuss at all as coaches, so you get your strategy for overtime, or were there some things out there that you kind of wondered about?
Well, you practice that during preseason camp. I mean, those are certain segments of things that you practice that may not happen all the time in a regular game, but we wanted to go on defense first. Obviously wanted to do that if possible. We knew they could choose what side they wanted to start from. And each side had one, timeout, so it was important that, clock management and things like that, players recall, from those things was important. But then between the lines, you just had to play football. You had to play football. That you had to make stops and plays in order to give yourself a chance to either score or kick a field goal. And, as I said, guys executed well, in the third overtime there.
Mike, in that overtime, you dealt with some adversity there with Bradshaw being ejected for the targeting. What did you see on that? Were you a little uneasy about putting Eric Gallen in there, who hadn't really played much at all this year, and such a crucial time in the game?
I'm not going to talk about the penalty, but it is what it is. So I believe Zach will miss the first half, I believe, of next week's game because of that. And Eric had been playing on our special teams unit, and it's always about the next man up mentality. So he was up, and I don't know how well he did or what he did to impact, the way he'll be graded. But obviously he was the next man up, and he went in, and he was in on those the last possession.
Coach, along those same lines, Jordan Ellis had never really been in the game much at all, much less in that big of a spot. With Reed hurt, I guess he's just the next in that package. But can you talk about him coming through there?
Jordan is a big back. Runs with his pads over his knees, and for the most part falls forward. He had a great run early during the season where he broke some tackles, and Albert was kind of banged up a little bit, and so the next big back opportunity was giving the ball to Jordan, and again, we talked about the backs in general. It seemed like they all do something. They give something to our offense. And Jordan is kind of that short yardage, goal line package type of guy. But we found roles for them, for our guys, and they embrace it. That's the other thing. Nobody has an ego about who's getting the carries and the reps. It's just we have guys that don't care who gets the credit. They just want to win.
And Mike, at what point in that 19-play drive to end regulation did you decide to kind of back off and play for the field goal?
At what point? Always the where we want to get to for Ian is at least to our 30-yard line. And so you always have to, we talk about the cliff. What is the cliff of the place kicker? And then anything that's beyond that is extra. So at that issue right there, ball security becomes critically important. And then in the flow of the game, as the game goes on, you don't want to do any crazy things, reverse passes. You don't want to do all that stuff. You just want to be methodical, and you want to have opportunities to make sure you hang on to the football. And then at the very end, put the ball, run a play where it lines the place kicker up where he likes to kick it. And some kickers like it on the hash, left, right hash. Our guy likes it right where he kicked it. And he did a good job with that.
Mike, Taekwon had the early fumble that Syracuse returned for a touchdown. Did you sense after that he was especially determined to kind of redeem himself because he did a lot of good things after that?
I can't use a word that he used that he was, but it's not a bad word. He was very upset, and he and it's not politically correct, put it that way, but he was determined to make it a big second half for him, whether he was running or catching the ball, running with authority. And, we know that he's got to carry the ball, he's got to protect it and things like that. But we talk about the resiliency and the fight of a young man. This is probably, I don't know how many total yards he had, but, Smoke is a very important part of our offense and what he does.
Mike, on the third overtime, when they had 3rd and 10, and David Dean got pressure, and I think Micah Kaiser came up the middle. What was the call on that play when you got the sack that pushed them back on the field goal?
What was our
Yeah.
defensive call?
Yeah, the blitz.
It was a zero pressure. It was a, hey, you got that guy, and that's, you know, when you're playing like that, I mean, that's, you know, you got to guard your guy. You got to make sure that it'll put you in certain gaps that you have to be, and we did a lot of that. And we talked about how the second, third, you know, fourth quarter particularly, we probably applied more pressure because we knew that you know, they were trying to run the ball inside, and their quarterback on a couple occasions did a great job in scrambling and getting out of there. But you know, again, I just keep going back, you know, to just the overall effort that was good enough to win a game. It's got to be better as we move forward. But we talk about the win. That's what's important. And we'll celebrate it for right now, and then get ready to move on and get ready for our next game.
We'll take a last question from Norm, and Matt Johnson's already in the back.
I assume that I'll be
Norm?
Norm. I'll be Norm.
Which
I'll be
Norm?
Norm. The Wahi fumble and recovery, the Wahi fumble recovery gave you guys momentum late in the half, and then fake punt, and then Dungy hurdles Quinn Blanding, kind of takes it away. What was the mood and the message at the half after that?
You know, again, just to settle down with just, you know, you can come in and get highly emotional and throw things around. It's about adjustments. It's about making the right calls, making the right adjustments. And, you know, I believe we did that, but and the players just have to understand that, you know, good plays happen and sometimes bad plays happen. It's how you respond to them. And again, what's particularly pleasing with this win is there are some confidence builders in this. Guys responding, you know, from a positive standpoint. But we know that we got games to play, and we can still get better at those.